Welcome. It's day 3 of the marketing mistakes. On day 1, we talked about not being consistent. Mistake number 2 was having no strategy or plan at all. And today we're going to be talking about mistake number 3 that I see so often, and that is not having a next step. I'm Laurie-Ann, a reformed, painfully shy girl who accidentally became a professional speaker. And I am now a business coach and speaking strategist. I help coaches, consultants, and service-based entrepreneurs use speaking, both virtual and in person, as their best form of marketing. So let's get on with today's, because today this is a mistake that I see all too often, both in speaking but also in marketing, in social media posts, and that is not having that next step. So I'm just going to share this into the group, my personal group, and if you're not on in my personal community, which is entrepreneurs making an impact, you should get yourself on over there. And also my on my email list, because my email list is where you actually find out about all of these great free trainings. Share to a group. And so I'm curious if as people are jumping on and they're starting to watch, where are you watching from? And did you watch day 1 and day 2? Because day 1 and day 2 were super important as well. And so this is a common mistake that I see, is that people just don't have this, the next step or a call to action. So I kind of refer to this as, in speaking, I talk about not being the college professor. And what that means is, or the college professor or the high school teacher, is where you're just giving out like tons and tons of information. But what do you want your audience to do with that information? That's the call to action. That's the next step. That is the call to action is how you deepen the learning and how you build the relationship with people. Building the relationship, you need to, like in this online space, even if you have actually a brick and mortar business, as a matter of fact, I want to like add that in, you have to build that relationship with people. I'm thinking of a clothing store that I absolutely adore that's nearby here. And they were definitely hit with this COVID pandemic. But what I love and what I admire so much about them, they're so good at their Instagram stories, by the way. The name of the store is called Camaraderie. And at the beginning of this pandemic, it was really kind of devastating to watch. It was very emotional for the 2 young women who owned the store. But you know what? They put their heads together and they started offering curbside pickup before anybody else was offering it. So like kudos to them. But I'm sort of like veering off of my my path here. Like that's brick and mortar, but that was how they kept nurturing the relationship with their customers. And me as one of their favorite customers, I can literally email them or text them, send them a direct Instagram message and just say, hey, I love that blouse, because they know me, because they've nurtured that relationship. They even know what size. I've walked into the store before and they will be like, Laurie-Ann, you would love this sweater, this sweatshirt that's on the mannequin, out on the front window. And they're always right. So it's about nurturing the relationship. That's what your call to action is for. Nurturing the relationship, deepening the learning, or getting them to make a next move. Like, how do you get a cold lead from, let's just say, like this Facebook Live? How do I get that cold lead to then opt into my email list, to take that next step with me? You have to make the call to action. You've got to share stuff. So I'm going to go back to the college professor or the teacher, where they just throw out information. And like, as the viewer or the reader here in this online space, you're just taking it in. And if you watched my Crack Like Content free training that was last week, I spoke a lot about we are skimmers before we are readers. So that means your social media posts, the words, text-wise, needs to be aesthetically pleasing. So if you're posting in groups, make sure you're using like the Facebook formatting, using the H1 and the H2. And if you don't know what that is, please feel free to type down below. I am happy to do a special training on that. But for a moment, I just want to say hello to Christina. Christina, yes, she's watched 1 and 2 and she found them very informative. Thank you very much. Talene is also here. She says, hey, she's tuning in for day 3. And this is the one that I just see people missing. And I think the reason why I see people this missing so much is because there's also this fear of sales. Oh my God, I might come across as being salesy. There is nothing wrong with making your offer. If you don't offer your solution, wow, this kind of rhymes, a bunch of S words. If you don't offer your solution, if you don't share your solution, shame on you. That's what I want to say. Because you have a skill, you have a talent. And if we don't help people like, here's a solution, like Christina runs all-inclusive events like triathlons. Christina, am I right in saying maybe just road races, like 10Ks, 5Ks? But what if she just like talked about her road races, but never had a link to, hey, you can sign up here? Well, then we would just be like, okay, that was a nice post. Talene does skincare and cosmetic and transformative stories. What if she just talked about like, hey, here's like, to look 5-10 years younger, use lighter colors. What if that was all that she said? And I come around and I see this title, because trust me, like I might be interested in that, like how to look 5-10 years younger. I look at that and I'm just like, oh, okay. There's like, it's just use lighter colors. I'm not like brunette. Like, what kind of lighter colors do I use? Are there lighter colors that are different for blondes versus brunettes versus redheads? Like, how, share with me, like, guide me down this path. And Christina did admit she has done this before. Guess what, Christina? We've all done this before. Now, I want to add, like, because since you're sharing that you haven't done this before, and I'm telling you, like, I've done this as well. But I do also have a lot of value posts that are going out there. And most of you know that Facebook is my main social media platform. From there, my content is repurposed, recycled, reused, something that I talk about in the Momentum Bootcamp. And, then stuff goes first on Facebook to my private community. And then from there, it goes to the other groups that I'm members of, because I feel that if you're part of my private community, you should have access and you should see my original thoughts, my thought leadership, my Facebook Lives first. And then from there, it goes out to the other groups. And then from there, it goes to Instagram. So there's like this whole like pathway of like how I use my content and how it gets distributed out there. But there's a lot of value posts that goes out there as well. But what if I like didn't give you guys that next step? Like I just kind of like was that college professor, like constantly like just like let me I'm getting tongue-tied here again. For most of you that know me, like sometimes I have like 2 or 3 different thoughts at once, and none of them want to come out at once. So it would be like not taking you down that pathway. Just saying, here's what you should do. Like, you should be pitching yourselves for podcasts. What if I ended right there? Then, like some of the questions that might come to mind, like, how do I find those podcasts? What do I say to those people? Here's a mistake that I see a lot of people making when people are looking for like, hey, I'm going to be running a virtual online summit. I have a podcast, like I'm looking for guests. I'm looking for interesting speakers. And people will just go, interested, without knowing anything about that. Like, and put yourself in the shoes of that person. So that might be what you ended up doing. If I said like, hey, go get yourself on some podcasts, then you're going to like start searching. who's looking for podcast guests? And you're just going to go like, hey, yeah, I'm interested. And we don't even know anything about them. But what if I said, hey, I've got this opt-in on how to pitch yourself to podcasts. Hey, I've got this opt-in on how to pitch yourself for live, in-person, and virtual speaking events. Now it's like you have that next step. And remember, an opt-in, the purpose of an opt-in is so that whoever is opting in for it, one, they're going to be on your email list. So now you're nurturing, you're building that relationship. Here's that next step. And you're giving them something in exchange for their email address. And that opt-in is supposed to give them some sort of win. So I would sort of give them, if they were looking to get on podcasts, I would give them some sort of like, hey, here's a template that I want you to put into your own words, your own voice to pitch to podcasts. And I might even like share with them, like here are some podcasts that I've been on. Here are some things that you might want to look at. I'm always trying to connect like my private clients with podcasts that I've been on, or other clients of mine or people that I know that actually are hosting podcasts. But that's that like, hey, like, let me take you on this journey. But a lot of times I'm going to go back to Talene says, brain is moving too fast. Tell me more. Tell me more, Talene. What do you mean your brain's moving too fast? When you're writing your posts, let's always make sure that we have that hook. I want to draw people into my social media posts. The hook from my Facebook Lives is the first 30 seconds. And it's also the title of this Facebook Live. Because remember, like I always say, you are doing the Facebook Live, you're doing the live streaming for the replay. Because not everybody can be on here at once. They're going to like come back to it later on. They're going to see, oh, Laurie-Ann, that's right, day 3 was today. Let me go watch that now. And people watch the replay. But also to be able to go to your Facebook page where you house all of your videos. And now there's like this library of things for people to watch. And so then I do the teaching of my Facebook Live or the teaching of the post. But then there's always a call to action, whether that's to sign up for a program that I'm promoting. Maybe it's sign up for a call. Maybe it's like get on my, like sign up for this opt-in, download this opt-in, download this freebie. Always giving people something else to do, because remember, the whole purpose of your social media content, of your marketing, is to help people learn something, to move them along in their journey. But it also builds that know, like, and trust with you. And so how many of you are building those relationships? You're nurturing those relationships with the people who are opting in, who are watching your live streams. Tell me down below, how are you nurturing the relationships? And Talene says, I don't always think to offer myself, and I get caught in the helping. Common mistake, Talene. Very common mistake. You're not alone. When I first started out in this online space, that's what I was doing. That's exactly what I was doing. And thank goodness, I had somebody to mentor me, but you're going to be have already signed up for the Momentum Bootcamp. And so you're going to have my eyes on your content. And trust me, you are not going to be putting out content without a call to action. That's going to be something really important for you. But to be able to make those offers, again, think deep in the learning. So when I'm speaking, a call to action might be, I'm thinking of one of these exercises that I used to do in the leadership arena. And it was called PRMs, positive reinforcement moments. And I would challenge the audience to have 5 PRMs a day. And a PRM, positive reinforcement moment, was just when you complimented somebody, just randomly, just let them know, wow. Because what does positive reinforcement do for us? One, we realize, wow, somebody noticed. I always try to make my PRM something about the organization or the person who hired me. So for example, I think I spoke for a Rotary once, and I said, so one of your PRMs could be, and I went over to like the person who hired the speakers, where you just say, you bring in some of the most interesting speakers. Thank you so much. Thank you for always being here on time, if not early, to help with the setup for the meetings. Hey, Debbie Smith, thank you for, like, you always have a smile on your face. Thank you so much, because when I come into the office, that is like your bright smile is the first thing that I see. So that's one of like those call to action exercises. Does that lead to anything with my business? No, but it's going to leave a lasting imprint on the organization. And some of the testimonials that I get, and you can check these out on my YouTube, is I have had people say, I gotta go work on my 5 PRMs right now. And so that's actually a very popular exercise, and that's just one that comes to mind. But again, it deepens the learning about what I was teaching in that speech, in that keynote. So with my clients, with my private clients, they always have some sort of an assignment. Here's the next step. So for example, if you were a new client that I was working with privately, one of the things that we would work on, one is probably your messaging. What is it that you want to speak about? What's the big lesson you want to leave people? And I would help them like let's find the right places for you to speak. So between now and our next appointment, which is next week, I want you to start doing some research. Now remember, I'm a coach, I'm not a consultant. I don't do the booking for them. So I never want my clients to become dependent on me. I want them to learn how to do the work. I want them to learn how to find the speaking organizations, find the professional trade organizations, pitch themselves. That way, when we're done working together, they know exactly how to get booked on repeat. If you're one of my private business clients, I'm not going to help sell you on how to, I'm not going to sell your clients for you. Like be that middle person that does like the selling, like, hey, come work with Talene, come work with Christina. No, because I want you guys to learn how to do those sales techniques, have those sales skills yourself, learn how to overcome objections on those sales calls. So I'm just using sales calls as an example. So it might be, so an exercise that I might give a private client is, I just want you to practice the money objection. Go look in the mirror a couple of times, 3-4 times a day, and pretend that you're talking to a future client on a sales call, on a Zoom call. That's why we're looking at them. And just just hear the phrase, yeah, I can't afford it. So I've given them the exercise. That way, when they do get on a call, they're able to handle that money objection. They're able to handle that time objection. So always having that call to action. Let me know if you guys are having any questions. Christina says, "Great for all. This is great for all relationships." Absolutely. And Christina has a very interesting way to, and I use the word interesting in a good way, Christina's, because of what she's doing, she's having these all-inclusive, events. She is encouraging people to do like triathlons who probably never thought about doing a triathlon. I probably should share this with you, Christina. The reason why I have never done, I admire people who do triathlons. I think it's just like, wow. And the only reason why I haven't is because I don't like to swim. It's not that I can't swim. I'm just not a big fan of swimming. So I'm sure Christina will have a new call to action for me for this one. But always having that call to action. Is this helping you guys? Is this all making sense? Do you feel like, all right, now I know what to do. From here on, I'm not going to make that mistake. Whatever that call to action is, I also want to encourage you to tie it to whatever you were teaching. So if it's get on a call with me, my membership site In Demand, we have monthly Q&A calls. And one of the things that we were talking about yesterday, one of the ladies was saying I don't even have a call to action all the time, maybe half the time she does, on her blogs. So over at the end of your blog, the whole point is to get people on your email list. So you want to be, the call to action could be to download this checklist, you know, grab this tip sheet, some sort of opt-in. Because remember, we want to take people, and you can share your blog. I'm just getting ahead of myself. Share that blog like on Facebook. It's like, hey, check out my latest blog. People go over to your blog, they read your blog. Here's a place to sign up. Now I've signed up. I've given you my email in exchange for your freebie. And now it's like, like now I can nurture the relationship a lot differently than I can like over on social media. Not that you can't nurture relationships over here, but it's just, like it's different. Like I'm going to have an intimate relationship with you by sending you an email. Let me just see what Talene had to say here. I think it would be smart of me to create some freebies somehow for people to download for the skincare and cosmetic, aside from mailing out samples or something. That's beautiful. And you and I will definitely talk about that inside the Momentum Bootcamp, so that you design, the right opt-in and not just a random opt-in. As you guys know, like whenever I'm putting presentations together, whether those are live or they're virtual, getting on a podcast, writing a blog, doing this Facebook Live. Remember, I always work with the end in mind. What's the goal? Let's start with the goal first and work our way back to if our reader, if our viewer, if our audience member, does that goal, how do we like almost like plant the breadcrumbs so that it makes it super easy for them. So I've been sharing a little bit this week about marketing. Lots of marketing. And on Monday, my Facebook Live that was at 5 o'clock, I talked a lot about CEO mindset. So if you haven't had a chance to take a peek at that, definitely go over there and take a peek at that. It's been a very popular Facebook Live that I've done. But also that I've been talking a lot about my Momentum Bootcamp, which is starting next Monday. There's still time to get in there now. It's 6 weeks of very intimate program based on mindset, marketing, and sales. And let me tell you, this is bank account friendly, very bank account friendly. And here is where you can learn a little more. You can even jump on a call with me if that makes it easier for you to get all your questions answered. But Momentum Bootcamp, this is a new program. This is a one-time program. It's a 6-week intimate program. When I say intimate, means it's a small group program. And it's going to feel like private coaching with me at a fraction of the cost. And we've already got some wonderful ladies that are in there right now, and they're going to be learning that mindset, that marketing, and the sales. And I'll tell you, like this, just the sales program, which is 2 weeks of sales and how to have a sales call process, is worth the investment alone, because that information is priceless. My goal is to make you fall in love with sales and to fall in love with marketing, to have a strategy for your marketing and a marketing plan that actually has calls to actions that actually pull out the right people. I want your marketing to be speaking to the right people. And mindset is the foundation to everything. And that's why we are going to be starting off with week 1 with the foundation of mindset. Along with that, you can go to that link, and hopefully I typed it right. You can go to that link and check out the, it's not a fancy sales page. You know me, I'm just like, hey, here it is. But check out the page. It lets you know what the agenda is. And one of the beautiful things that I'm adding this time is daily emails Monday through Friday. And those daily emails are going to have journaling prompts, things for you to think about, whether you need to write them, whether you want to visualize them, whether you want to think about it during a meditation. But that is to deepen the learning of whatever topic that we're talking about that week, whether it's mindset, marketing, or sales. So if you feel like you've got a problem with sales, or you got a problem with your marketing, or your mindset's just not on target, feel free to like take a peek at that program. Take a peek at that, because that's why I designed this program. It is so that by the end of the program, you should very easily be able to sign on a couple of clients. And I know the couple of ladies who have already joined, that's their goal. Their goal is that they're going to be able to sign on some new clients easier, and the perfect clients, not sacrificing and saying yes to the wrong people, because that never leads to the right place. So I know, yeah, Talene's super excited about joining Momentum Bootcamp. It is starting next Monday. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. But I hope that you've enjoyed these 3 days of marketing mistakes, not being consistent, not having a call to action, and just having no strategy, throwing spaghetti at the wall. None of that. Let's stop with those mistakes. I'm Laurie-Ann Mirabito. I've been your guest mentor, business coach for the day, and you guys have a fabulous afternoon, and I will see you in my Facebook group, which is Entrepreneurs Making an Impact.